Yes, it is. Welcome back to my channel. Today it's Monday and I still hope everybody is having a great day. Now, for all of you guys who do not know Vusi Thembekwayo, who's a very influential black businessman who's highly respected all over the globe, originally from South Africa. If I were to say so myself, the guy is a genius, okay? What I mostly love about him, he just has a way of bringing both black and white race together. If you're looking into getting into business or self-employment one day and you're not already following him, I suggest you start following him today. He's available in all social platforms at Vusi Thembekwayo. Now, before wasting any of your time, let's quickly go to the video, and of course, I'll come back with the rest of my commentary.
It's a tough one, eh? It's really a tough one. Hey, everybody, I hope you're well. This should be a much better connection. There we go. There we go. We seem to be getting better speeds. And I apologize about the earlier video. I deleted it. So here's the thought I want to share with you guys very quickly. Then I've got to jump into meetings. First, happy spring. We're now on the 14th, so what's that? It's 2 weeks into spring. It's going to be an amazing season. I'm already seeing green in my garden. I take my pit bulls for a walk, and I'm seeing green all over. So it's good. It's good. We're finally in a decent part of the season. Here is the question for everybody. It's a thought. Here's my hypothesis. I think that violence and intimidation is South Africa's 12th official language. And I think it's important to call it that, because if we don't call it that, then we don't see it, right? So I'm old enough to remember a time, I'm not going to mention who was president, but because then it'd become, well, that president did X, Y, and Z. I'm not going to get caught in the cult of personality. But I'm old enough to remember a time when if there was a service delivery protest, it was breaking news. Like it was breaking news, service delivery protest, breaking news. The news outlets all carried it because there were no service delivery protests. And that's not to say that services were being delivered better at the time, or maybe they were. I don't know. I don't have any empirical evidence to suggest either for or against that argument. But the point was that violent protests were so foreign to our culture as South Africans that every time they happened, it was a news item. That's not the case anymore. It's just not the case anymore. Violence today is almost woven into the fabric of how we communicate as South Africans. It's like, will definitely work. Violence and intimidation, that's the language, right? I want you to ask yourself the question, which are the most effective ways of getting listened to, particularly by the authorities? So when a community some years, what do you see them do? Typically, it ends up in violence. This is why you end up with schools being burnt, and has almost been built in how dangerous that language is. And I'll tell you why this language is dangerous. It's dangerous because the minute we language to be effective, I'll say it again, the minute we normalize, because we've now normalized it. I did history at school, and I wonder if you ever sat in a history happen. Like, how the hell did apartheid happen? How the hell did slavery happen? It happened because people will find an extreme way to exercise how it works. So what in the main, what does the taxi intimidate commuters who try to use an alternative mode of transport? So if a commuter tries to get on an Uber or a train, they intimidate them, right? We don't want to fight. Normalizing today that the funeral parlor industry is going on a strike. I'm going to make you a bet. 10/14/09/2020. I'm going to make you a bet. Here's my bet. The protests by the funeral parlor industry is going to go violent. Just watch. Someone's going to try and open their funeral parlor, and someone is going to... How do communities protest? Service delivery protests. What happens with those? Almost always. By the way, I'm not going to take a particular view, but I'm talking about how was the protest conducted? Yeah? How was the protest conducted? I've heard people say, which is actually a fair argument, that racism is, I think that's actually society. We now use violence as a form of protest. And remember that it's a gradual thing, right? So it starts out slow and then it becomes worse and worse and worse. So I want to ask you the question. If we're going to use violence and intimidation as another language of communicating as South Africans, where do you think that's going to put us? Where do you think that ends up? Like, what's the logical conclusion to it? South Africa is going to have massive race problems in the next 5 years. Mark my words on this. And I'll tell you why we've got a race problem coming. We've got a race problem coming because our economy is in shit. Excuse my language, but that's just the fact. Our economy is in deep, deep, deep trouble. Deep, deep trouble. And what people do when they have an economic problem is they blame each other. So you're going to find white South Africans, not all of them, but some, who'll say the reason we have these economic problems is because of the policies of the day, including but not limited to black economic empowerment. You're going to find black South Africans who'll say the reason we have these economic problems, not all of them, but some, who'll say the reason we have these economic problems is because of the lack of transformation, the lack of diversity, etc., etc., etc. And what's going to happen is a massive schism is going to develop between South Africans, and that schism is going to result in a massive collision because the only way we'll hear each other is with violence and intimidation. So I'm only making this video just to say this to you. Watch your language. Watch what you're posting. Watch what you're saying. Watch the things people are saying on the Facebook and the WhatsApp groups that you're in. I'm in some WhatsApp groups where I look at the things people say and I'm like, what the hell are you smoking? You can't write this shit down. And by the way, I'm in some WhatsApp groups with hugely influential business leaders who write stuff and I go, no, come on, you can't think this way. If you and I, reasonable people, think like this, then I shatter to think what's happening in the rest of society. Violence and intimidation has become South Africa's 12th official language. And I'm making this video to say to you, please just use your common sense and think before you say something, write something, because we now live in a time where we've all dumbed down to reasonable argumentation. And the only way to hear each other is if we intimidate each other, curse each other, destroy, break. That's now the official way of protest. And I don't know about you, but that road doesn't go anywhere you want to go. It really just doesn't. All right. All of you are busy complaining about my signal, so let me love and leave you. I'll try and make another video later in the day. Okay, everybody have an amazing day. God bless you. Cheers.
All right, there we go, Mzansi. I hope you did enjoy this video. I'm very sorry about the screen rotation. I just wanted to make sure that you see all the comments clearly. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you are new to this channel, make sure you subscribe and you give this video a thumbs up. I will see you next time.